Omer, is this serious? I mean, so it was the Americans first, and then the Iran-backed militias fired the Americans, and then the Americans have responded again.
So we have seen a recent dynamic between Iran and the Americans in Iraq and Syria, a tit for tat, as you have called it. But until now, it was like this, that the Iranian Shia militias will target American positions inside Iraq, and the Americans would retaliate inside Syria. So there was a common understanding of limits of these escalations. But what we see now is that Iran has stepped up its game and has conducted attacks against American forces inside Syria. So this is changing the dynamic, because the target, the Iranian choose, isn't just a regular target. It's a specific strategic target with a symbolic meaning. It's the Iranian Shia militias target the American force stationed at the Al-Omar oil field in Syria. This is the biggest oil field inside Syria, and this was the reason why the Trump administration decided to stay inside Syria. So the Iranians have not just attacked American posts, but they have attacked an oil facility where the Americans are stationed. So we see that the American airstrike has conducted retaliation, but we see that the modus operandi of the American side has not changed yet. So it was until now that the Americans would strike the Iranian Shia militias inside Syria, and they have done it so again. Until now, the Americans are quite reluctant to attack the Iran-based Shia militias inside Iraq, where all of this escalation initially started. And this shows that the upper hand is on the side of the Iranian. The escalation spirit is on the side of the Iranian Shia militias. And I think that we might see another symbolic American airstrike against Iran-based Shia militias, as the Americans will try to step up their game as well in the future, especially ahead of the possible negotiations with the Iranians on a renewal of the nuclear deal between America and Iran. So therefore, we might see again a new escalation by the Americans, in which they target symbolic targets of the Iran-based Shia militias, like they have killed Qasem Soleimani in the past inside Iraq. However, if the Americans do not do this, I think the escalation will calm down, but it will be Iran who has come out victorious of this escalation, which may affect the negotiation process. So it's on the side of the Biden administration to decide whether this retaliation was enough or not. If they decide it's enough, they will go weakened at the negotiation table, and they will be weakened politically, as Iran has shown that it has the escalation upper hand.
Omer, in terms of the security stability, the security situation in Iraq and that situation in Syria, do you think that it's the Iran-backed militias that are causing greater instability, or is it actually the American troops? We spoke to a local government, a member of local government in Baghdad this time on Monday, and he said, as far as Iraq is concerned, it doesn't regard those Iranian-backed militias as a major problem. He said the Americans are destabilizing Iraq by conducting these kind of strikes against those Iran-backed militias.
So personally, I would not choose between these two evils inside Syria and Iraq. I would argue that both of them are playing a destabilizing role, especially the United States in Syria and Iran in Syria and in Iraq. So we know that the Iraqi administration, Iraqi government is heavily influenced by the Iran-based Shia militias and inside the Hashd-e-Shaabi units. The Hashd-e-Shaabi has become an official armed force of the Iraqi state. Therefore, the Iranian-based Shia militias have playing an important role, and they have been influencing decision-making in Baghdad for a long time. However, we also know that Iran-based Shia militias have committed several autocracies and several war crimes and several human rights violations inside Iraq and inside Syria as well. And we know that the area being targeted inside Syria by the Americans, where the Iran-based Shia militias are positioned, is a rural, tribal, Sunni Arab area. The people there hate Iran more than anyone one else in the world. So Iran being there is a no-go for itself, and it's a problem by itself. But on the other side of the Euphrates River, in the east side, where the Americans are stationed, we have the YPG terror group being present there. The YPG terror group is a Marxist Kurdish terror group affiliated with the PKK, who has committed several human rights violations and war crimes. And the local Arab tribal people hate the YPG as much as they hate the Iran-based Shia militia. So for the local people, for the civilians in the region, they have two evils and they have no alternative. So I would personally argue that the only solution is for the United States of America to change its modus operandi, to abandon the YPG, and to strengthen its relationship with the Syrian opposition, the legitimate Syrian opposition, and to kick out the YPG out of their result. This will strengthen the American position, and it will also empower the local people against Iran-based Shia militias, and this will help the region to calm down and to normalize. At the moment, we have two powers who are fighting against each other on the burden of the local innocent civilians of their result.
Omer Ozkizilcik, thank you so much indeed, Omer.